What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where today we're going to talk a little bit about the trade deadline and what the Colts could possibly do near the trade deadline to get better, not only for this season, but to go forward, right? Building around Anthony Richardson and what that looks like. And you could tell by the thumbnail in this video, we're going to be talking a little bit about David Njoku. And this is something that comes up and something that I wanted to talk about because it's something that I saw on Twitter. And I know some of these, aggregator accounts on Twitter aren't always accurate. Sometimes they just put stuff on Twitter. But they did say that the Browns were looking to possibly get rid of David Njoku. And of the three teams that he's linked with, I know the Commanders are one. I don't remember who the other one is, but the Colts were one of those teams. And I think it makes sense, right? When you think about what the Colts offense is, you think about how often we talk about, it'd be nice if one of these tight ends would just step up. Need one of these tight ends to step up. Is it going to be Kylan? Kylan really can't find his footing. He's playing less this year than he ever has. And you have Mo Alley Cox, who we're going to keep because he's a veteran on this team, but also what he brings to the run game and what he can bring you as a pass catcher, right? He's obviously, not one of our biggest pass catchers. He is, one of the biggest, but not one of our best, I guess. So when you look at it, right, Drew Ogletree also not stepping up. Jelani Woods can't stay healthy. So when you look at David Njoku and what he brings and what he would be able to bring to the offense, I think he would be a guy that would be a perfect fit. And he's an absolute dog, right? Last year had the issue where his face gets burned a little bit. Not a little bit. It was tough. He was expected to be out at least a week, ends up not missing any time, plays, has a really good game after the situation. And so I just think David Njoku, absolute dog. He's also a physical freak. When you look at David Njoku and just look at pictures of the way that dude's built and look at the way he's able to move at his size, like he's somebody that when you think about the guys that Chris Ballard drafts, David Njoku fits the bill physically. So I just think it would be such a nice fit to bring David Njoku in. And then obviously the question is, what's the money look like? What's his contract look like? And when you're looking to have your attention, if you enjoy the content, hit that like button. And of course, be subscribed and have notifications turned on. When you look at the channel, the amount of people that come here, 52.6% of the people that have watched content on this channel over the last month are not subscribed. And just to go deeper into those numbers, of the almost 14,000 views on this channel in the past month, 66.8% of those views come from people that are not subscribed to the channel. If you're one of those people, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Again, if you enjoy the content, hit that like button. Now, let's get back to the video. Zero guaranteed money after this season. This season, he only has $3 million of guaranteed money, even though the cap hit is $9.645 million, which is really the area of issue that you get into right next year. Now, without guaranteed money, he's going to want a different contract. He's going to want something different. Looking here, I'm on over the cap, looking at these numbers. And again, zero guaranteed money. And then there are 4 years on the back that are voidable, right? And as I was looking at other people on the Browns, it seems like the Browns are in a place where they're trying to win right now. It's obviously not working for them, but there are different guys on the team. They're pushing money down the line. So a lot of these voidable years as it goes along. But there's also dead cap that goes to the back of, especially like when you look at dead money, cap savings after June 1st, right? A trade post June 1, according to Over the Cap. And for the Browns, they would take on, $4.5 million this year, $4.5 million next year, $4.5 million in 2026, and then $2.2 million in 2027. And with the Deshaun Watson contract up there, like they're probably going to be looking to get rid of some of these contracts to get the cap number to go down and be like, okay, we can take on, $4.5 million in dead money because the cap number is not going to be 11.8, right? Basically a savings of over $7 million for them from one year to the next. The next year, it's almost $20 million in savings. So again, the Browns seem like somebody that's going to be a seller. They're not winning a bunch of games right now. They don't look like a playoff team. They don't look like a Super Bowl team. They have Deshaun Watson's $230 million fully guaranteed contract, and now he's out for the season. And so they're going to be looking to work some things in a way where they can still try to be competitive, right? And be able to get some draft capital. I mean, seemingly they're probably they're going to have issues with David Njoku going into next season. Are they going to be able to pay him, or are they going to go ahead, try to get what they can from him before, they're not able to pay him next year and they end up moving on from him anyways, right? You try to get something back for David Njoku. I think that's why this conversation is coming up, right? When you just look at the Browns situation, it just makes sense, right? And you look at David Njoku and what he's done this year. The last game that he played was October 20th against the Bengals, where he had 10 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown. Okay, again, this is a tight end. He's not always going to be making plays down the field. You're going to have games like that where it's just having to be more efficient, right? 7.6 yard average per catch. But we've also seen in the past that he can make the plays. Now, one of the issues with David Njoku is the fact that he's somebody who also, over different periods of his career, has had trouble staying on the field. But when he is on the field, he's able to be productive, right? And of course, over there in Cleveland, quarterbacks generally one of the biggest issues for everybody over there. Receivers, tight ends, doesn't really matter. They have a tough time with quarterbacks. So you see the numbers for David Njoku, and they've been up and down. But even with all the different quarterbacks there, he's had different seasons where he does pretty well, right? And nothing fantastic. He's never reached 1,000 yards, but he does have, 56 in his second season, 56 catches, 639, 4 touchdowns, right? And then again, he deals with injuries for a couple seasons, but then you look at 2022, 58 catches, 628, 4 touchdowns. 2023, just last season, 81 catches, 882, 6 touchdowns. A lot of that with Joe Flacco. Right, you think about what that team looked like with Deshaun Watson, and they really weren't able to get things going. And then here comes Joe Flacco. Cleveland offense starts to take off, score a bunch of points. Mark Cooper, his numbers get better. David Njoku, his numbers get better. And so David Njoku, it showed when you give him a competent quarterback, then he's easily able to be productive, especially after being in the league for this long. Veteran guy, still physically just an absolute freak. And this year so far, he has 20 catches, 165, and a touchdown. But the Browns have been one of the worst offenses in the league because Deshaun Watson was maybe statistically the worst quarterback in the NFL. I know, obviously, Anthony Richardson and his completion percentage, not great. Obviously, the worst in the NFL and not looking good right now. But I think if you're able to add a guy like David Njoku and you continue to work on things with AR, right? Like Josh Downs is supposed to be a safety valve for AR. Right, we saw Joe Flacco use that safety valve a lot, and then Anthony Richardson not using that safety valve. And that's one of the development pieces for Anthony Richardson, is trying to figure out, how to, again, take what the defense is going to give you and be fine with, hey, I can go ahead and check this ball down to my guy, right? And that's just part of his development, not always needing the big play. So I think getting a guy like David Njoku, right? If you have David Njoku, you have Josh Downs, these are guys that can be safety valves for your quarterback, but can also make explosive plays and get the ball in their hands and let them make plays after they get the ball in their hands. So I think with the price that David Njoku will go for, and with the cap space that we have for the remainder of this year, we can afford him. I think it'd be, at this point, somewhere around $6 million that we would have to pay David Njoku for the rest of the season. And then I would assume, again, with zero guaranteed money going into next season in 2025, I assume if he is traded, there's probably going to be a rework deal that happens with that, and trying to make sure that you have a guy for more than one season, that you don't have to do a holdout situation next off season with a guy that you just traded for, right? So I would assume it's going to be something like that. But nonetheless, I just think trading for David Njoku, I think we're going to have $54 million next year. And I've seen the list of free agents, and we'll go over that soon, where we're not even halfway into the season. But list of free agents next year is large. And so with $54 million in cap space, it'll be interesting to see how we work things Obviously, we have a lot of young guys that we expect to kind of be the future of what we're looking at with this team. So maybe Chris Ballard plans on trying to negotiate with certain guys, and maybe we don't have the money for David Njoku because of what they already have planned out. But I just think when you look at the offense, right, we all of a sudden we're loaded at receiver. Like, we don't really need a receiver as much as I'd like to sit here and make a video about going and getting Cooper Kupp. Like, we just don't need to do that, and that's great for all the conversations about receivers we've had over the last few years. Like, it's great to not need a receiver. You don't need running backs, really, right? Like, you have Jonathan Taylor with Anthony Richardson. You just hope he stays healthy, right? We have weapons on offense. The one position, the offensive line has been incredible. Even the backup guys and rookies that have had to step in, right? Again, the guys that are the guys of the future, they step in, they play well, but we're so deficient at the tight end position in terms of playmaker, right? We have good run blockers, but we don't have playmakers. Again, we were hoping Jelani Woods would be that guy. He just can't stay healthy. So maybe you go and get a guy like David Njoku and you give the Browns Jelani Woods and say, hey, he's has some injury issues, but maybe he can stay healthy for you guys, and maybe he can work for you guys in the future, right? Give him draft capital plus Jelani Woods. So whatever that trade may look like, as I just sit here and look, I just think, man, this is such a good idea to go ahead and get a guy that can come in and make the offense that much more dynamic, and again, give Anthony Richardson another reason to check the ball down and take what the defense gives you. You need a guy like that on the team. And of course, again, some of that on Anthony. He's got to develop, but I think bringing David Njoku in would make our offense look even better than it usually does, right? Even when we have bad games, usually we're able to put up 20 points. It's been a little rough over these last few weeks, even with Joe Flacco, right? I think it was 16-10 in Tennessee. So offense been sputtering a little bit. It's been inconsistent through the season. I think you bring David Njoku in, and that could get a little better. But these are my thoughts on it. Just something that I've been thinking about. I wanted to go ahead and make this video. I want to know what your thoughts are on this. Do you think we should go after David Njoku with the price of tight ends? And with the price that David Njoku would probably go for, right? And what he could bring to the team. What do you think of this? If the Colts traded for David Njoku at the trade deadline, how would you feel about it? You let me know your opinion down in the comment section. Of course, make sure you subscribe with notifications on. Going to have more content coming out. Of course, going to have injury update later. And then we're going live for the game on Sunday, of course. And I love it if you drop by, hang out, even if you're watching a game, mute that thing, come over to YouTube and let's hang out during the game. It's one of my favorite parts of the week is being able to hang out with a bunch of different people from Colts Nation during the game. So again, have those notifications turned on. Of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. As always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.